And every day I told myself, no, this is the greatest blessing in my life. This is the greatest blessing in my life. Maybe I don't know why, but maybe I don't know how. But I know that this will turn out to be such a gift for me. That's how it unfolded, without me ever being able to imagine that it would turn out this way. This is the first time I've told myself this formula works. Children born after we landed on the moon now live and grow.
With this knowledge.
And before that, it was like, how is it possible for someone to step on the moon? Now it's the same way. I felt compassion. Is the child okay? At which point she stared at me in shock. And she says, yes. And I say, it's just a car. It's just a car. It's just paint. I was also surprised by my own reaction. They've conducted such experiments with people. Bashar's supporters say he told us the date and day to launch the ship. They wait, inspired, and come down. Bashar's ship arrives. As it nears, a woman lands and everyone flees, trying to scare us. Because we are their galactic family. We are part of their galaxy. Work with aliens on various projects and technologies has been ongoing behind the scenes, but it will soon become obvious. They'll be officially introduced at conferences, etc. When someone is so highly intellectually developed, they see the meaning and benefit of everything as part of a huge system. And they can't want to remove one thing, because if they remove one thing, the whole system will collapse. So there is no highly evolved consciousness that would want to remove another. And that's exactly what Bashar is talking about with the splitting of realities. And the more people understand this concept, they are already starting to see the symptoms of this separation. He says, you are already on different trains, you have already boarded them. We can still say hello and invite each other onto our trains, and we still have the chance to switch from train to train.
How much time do we have?
About 20 years.
Adelina Dimitrova, Adi.
Welcome back to Reality Explorers.
Thank you for taking your precious time to meet with us in person this time. Before I give you the floor, I want to remind people that the first time you were our guest, it was our first online interview, our first online appearance, it was yours and mine. Back then, I really wanted you to be here with us, to meet in person, but you said you still didn't have any plans to come back to Bulgaria. Increasingly often, but reality has changed. Welcome. You'll tell us about all this and much more today without any restrictions.
Thank you for the invitation. Seeing you in person is truly inspiring. We've had a few online meetings with you, and this is the first time we're meeting in person. And that's what we talked about in our preliminary conversation. Meeting in person is very different from meeting online.
How do you feel?
I'm fine.
Today, now.
Loved. In my place. In the flow. In the most important place and at the most important time, here and now.
This is the most valuable thing. Have you noticed how people who make this a way of life, I mean myself, you, and the people around us, how we also have...
It's like an even greater need to remind ourselves of this because we interact with many people who, more or less, develop the belief that they will get this reminder from us. And it's like we have to remind ourselves of it twice as much, to be there for them, to be able to stay alert, to be mindful, and to, I don't want to use the word careful, but rather to be with a clear focus, and at the same time we're in the flow.
The most interesting thing, Tony, is that this feeling that I'm responsible for others. At first you pushed me out of my center. However, when Bashar said you are responsible for yourself, to be authentic in front of others, responsibility is what I do, who I am now, and what I can offer others. What they will take is no longer up to us, but to be inspired, to be fully in the flow. Yes, that's my duty, my responsibility, so I can remind others by personal example.
I have a lot of things I want to ask you, and they're coming to mind. But before that, I remember that when we talked before, you still weren't an author. You hadn't published a single book yet, and now there are 3 here. You still hadn't returned to Bulgaria, and if you had, it wasn't public. Now you spend half your time, more than half, in Bulgaria and the other half in the United Kingdom. The in-person meetings with so many of our mixed audience, I dare say, as you yourself mentioned in our earlier conversation, acts in an extremely energizing and inspiring way.
A lot.
What has changed the most in you since the last time we saw each other?
I began applying the formula more precisely. Even more precisely. This formula really changes lives. Really, when these 5 steps are applied on a daily basis in the smallest details. This helped me, as well as the training, which is now in its 2nd season for Bashar's formula, in which I have already participated. It's a whole year of training. The 2nd season is ending soon, and when you learn to teach something, you have to study it even more in detail in order to be able to teach it, which gets me even more into learning exactly how every moment works. I explore my inspiration in the best way I can, without insisting on a specific outcome, staying in a positive state no matter what happens around me, and meanwhile observing myself, being in my body, exploring my reactions, and accordingly, my negative beliefs. The more I started doing this, the faster I began to see how consciously we shape our reality, constantly shifting from one version to another. And it's so inspiring that you just don't want to stop. It's like a drug.
Do you remember a specific
Time when you realized, really,
that this thing works? Or said, man, this really works this way.
Every day, but for the first time I'm even getting goosebumps. I remembered I saw it when I started making things, the videos on my YouTube channel.
Actually, for people who haven't met you, who aren't that familiar, when did you start making videos?
2020, during the pandemic.
During the pandemic?
During the pandemic, at the end of 2020, it already started there. My appearance on Oznato Tvoren, the YouTube channel. Before that, I had other videos that disappeared on their own.
And why did you start it? What was your thought back then?
You know, it was very interesting that I wanted to become a driving instructor.
A driving instructor.
When the pandemic hit, I was dealing with personal drama, which pushed me to become who I am now. You know, some kind of crisis comes along. And this crisis actually helped me become who I am today, day after day. And then I followed a lot. I would wake up and fall asleep with Bashar. I've been following Bashar since 2016. 2017, I've known about him. But my baptism by fire, so to speak, was in 2019, 2020. That's when I had to actually apply everything I had heard.
Yes, because theory alone tells us that
Theory alone does nothing. Only action brings change. And then during that crisis, I learned to apply the formula. I handled the crisis while everyone asked, oh, wow, how are you dealing with this? You're like me, a child abroad without money or a home. I truly was in that situation. And every day I told myself, no, this is the greatest blessing in my life. This is the greatest blessing in my life. I may not know why, I may not know how, but I know that this will turn out to be such a gift for me. I have no idea how things are going to happen. Each morning I woke up with this idea and repeated it all day. I was really in a positive state. And that's how it unfolded without me ever being able to imagine that it would turn out this way. This is the first time I've realized this formula works. And after that, life turned me around in such a way that I started taking some online courses during the time when the whole world was shut down. And actually, I asked myself, what is the thing that inspires me the most? What inspires me the most is talking about Bashar and driving a car. And I decided that I could combine them by becoming an instructor and accordingly talking about Bashar to make this happen. That was what came to my mind. But then a very interesting man appeared in my life who said, look, he has followed Bashar for a long time. And he said, look, anyone can become a driving instructor, but not everyone can speak the way you talk about Bashar. And actually, what he told me inspired me to share the teaching in Bulgarian. Our conversation was that snap. And I thought to myself, well, actually, anyone can access this teaching in English. You just buy Bashar's sessions and that's it. How many Bulgarians speak English? Not all. And there was a lot of resistance to that because we say he speaks like this. Well, he'll say it. Well, he speaks. Well, they speak. What am I going to say that's different? There's a lot of resistance, a lot of negative beliefs, like I'm not good enough and so on. But I started with his help. He was right by my side the whole time. And he supported me and encouraged me to keep doing it.
Actually, something happened to you. This happens to people who, for instance, study Tibetan Buddhism for several months or a year, return home changed, and then dedicate their lives to teaching that wisdom. The interesting thing about you is that you didn't have the direct interaction like some people. Bashar wasn't your guru. You weren't there, right? This was your own initiative, which is very brave, because at the time when you started
To go in front of the camera.
With my face,
in Bulgaria with your face and to start doing channeling, you've done it. You have quite a few recordings, and to start saying this is information from the flow, from the source that's coming out, I'm channeling it, extraterrestrial intelligence and so on. That's very brave.
What is behind this? Was it just inspiration?
Or was there something else that support or something else that told you to keep going, go ahead, this is your path? I'm finding myself more and more.
I had a lot of resistance. And when I released my first channeling, I didn't go on YouTube all day because I didn't want to read the hate I was expecting. Subscribe, but there was hate. But what actually helped me was to see things from the funny side. Remind myself, not everyone will accept it. Not everyone accepts Dario Abraham Hicks or understands Bashar, but they persist. During one of my 3 personal sessions with Bashar, which I started over time, this happened. When I started asking him questions, he said, what people do with your gifts is not your business. And you need to shift your focus from who I am and how I look to what I can give. And actually, that's something that completely changed my perspective. I focus on one person, which is why I speak directly to you in my videos.
Yes.
But people get offended. Oh, how impolite it is to use informal speech, but I imagine my best friend sitting on the other side of the camera and I'm talking to him. And I focused on one person. I told myself, if I can help just one person see the world differently, it's worth standing in front of the camera. And honestly, I had no idea what kind of impact it had until I came back to Bulgaria and held the first event of my life for my first book.
When was that event?
Last year.
This is the year 2024.
I think that's how it was. I'm losing track. May, June 2024.
I just want to make a quick note for the people who... This is without any judgment. The people who still go to a regular job. When we introduce different people or our friends, acquaintances on the show who very often, so to speak, have stepped out of this normal matrix mode. It's normal for people not to even remember a day, 2, 3, 4 ago, which exact days they were, how many hours, what happened, because we really try to follow what it means to live in the present, to be in the now. When you are in the now, the past and the future disappear. So whether it was the 24th, the 23rd, but I'm giving this as a clarification because these are some of the first signs when a person starts to break through those old beliefs and starts to see that
To be at home, here and now. This is ours, here at home. When I first came, I truly realized it when I saw the people's eyes. The stories they told me. You changed my life. All I do is talk to a camera.
To one person.
Yes, to one person. A whole hall full of people with tears in their eyes coming up and saying, what you say changes things. What you say makes a difference. But they do it. You and I are just talking. If they don't use this information, we could talk forever. Just like I listened to Bashar's information for years, but my complete transformation happened when I started applying that information in practice. And then that's the proof that it works when you see the difference in your life. In your life, interactions, relationships, and even appearance. You really do become a much better version of yourself. But that's what motivated me to keep going. To give Bulgarians access, because they asked me, you know English, so why not do it in English?
Yes?
Because in English, they access the source. But I want the Bulgarians. These people where I was born, my homeland, even though I don't live in it. These people deserve access to this information. Many people, especially those who are 40, 50, 60 years old, they don't know English. There are many people who don't know it.
Were you afraid before the first event?
Very much.
Adrenaline?
Adrenaline, a lot.
What were you saying to them back then?
Well, I don't remember what I said, but I had a negative self-talk, right? Negative inner dialogue, which how it will happen, because it's unknown, the mind, it doesn't like the unknown. But all the time, the synchronicities around me were very positive. Everything happened easily and the event occurred. The book came out on time, even though there were some hiccups here and there, small setbacks, but the team managed. The team was formed very quickly. It became interesting as soon as the first book came out, since I had chosen to close my YouTube channel a few months earlier.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yes. And the previous year,
This is exactly like that parable, which it's not a parable, but a picture where a man is digging, and then he gives up. And right in front of him is the big diamond.
Well, you did it.
yes.
How did you feel then?
Well,
Why did you decide to close your channel?
because things weren't happening the way I wanted them to. There was something I didn't feel satisfied. Whether the video topic suddenly made me lose inspiration. I told myself that if I ever lose inspiration, I'll stop appearing in front of the camera, no matter what. For me, inspiration is the engine that organizes everything. It's like something back then. It happened. I lost it, but it was necessary since I shared it with a few people. I said, if I don't pick up, I'm hanging up. If something doesn't grow, it dies. It was there about a month or two before New Year's. And it was as if my higher self told me, wait, now you'll see where you're heading in a different direction. And information started coming in about, why don't you publish a book? But why don't you write a book?
Hints from here and there.
I think we were also discussing your book then.
Yeah.
Many synchronicities happened, making me wonder what kind of book I'd write. Actually, for more than 15 years, I've had the idea that I would write a book. But about what? I still don't know, but it's always been in the back of my mind. Somewhere in my mind, I began telling myself I could compile this information and make it accessible. With Bashar's formula, with many practical ways for people to sit down with the book and to immerse themselves in it. And that's how I started putting it together. And it came together very quickly. It happened quickly. I sat down and thought about what I wanted to say. Bashar's formula comes first. And after that,
What made the biggest change in your life?
really, what changed my life is exactly this formula. 5 simple steps. They're not easy, but they're simple. And I wanted to break it down and from there go into other different topics that just came to me naturally. Part of the podcast, including ours, is here as a script. Important topics we've talked about are described. About beliefs, but the focus is exactly on why beliefs specifically. What are these beliefs of yours?
If I'm someone who is seeing this book for the first time without knowing or having the chance to look inside at the contents, and you have very little time to explain to me,
What's the main value, and what would you tell me first?
It will change your life if you understand what are beliefs and how they create your life. Because you live what you believe in. Beliefs are your eyes. How you see the world, the windows of your house. Call them lenses, glasses, curtains, or whatever you want, those filters. Actually, the information that comes from above goes through these beliefs, and through the filters, it comes out and we live it. We literally live what we believe. Many say they have no beliefs, but without beliefs, you can't experience physical reality. You can't experience something if you don't have a definition for it first. If you don't have the belief that this means that, and I give this example with the word Ashkuda. What does Ashkuda mean?
Ashkuda?
Yes? How do you feel when someone tells you that you are Ashkuda?
No idea. Neutral.
If they say you are a loser,
Right away.
you instantly react with emotion. But you have the emotion because you know it means that I'm not enough, right? That I'm like this. You have the definition of something. That's it when we understand what definitions we have. And they come from parents, from teachers, from friends. We grow up with them. These programs, which even Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about, these are those negative beliefs, which really, the moment we change them, our whole life changes. We have those for everything: sex, children, religion, money, and what men and women are. Right now, I'm working extremely in depth because I took a course to become a sex therapist. And yes, at the moment, I'm dealing with sexual energy, which turns out to be extremely misunderstood. Masculine and feminine energy go beyond just sex. We're referring to sexual and creative energy, which, because of this shame and because of these negative beliefs coming from religion,
You mean this blocks a big part of the potential?
yes, much potential is blocked. It's so blocked that our chakras can't function properly. Because the first and second chakras, where shame and guilt and the sense of duty are, I mostly work with women, but lately a lot of men have started coming, which is very interesting. But mostly it's women, often burdened by duty, shame, and guilt.
Isn't it, Adi, about following my inspiration and accordingly to... If I've seen the blockages in my chakras, isn't honesty at the core of it?
Honesty as?
A universal tool which, if we really learn to use, it unlocks, as you say, Bashar, the automated processes. Everything happens automatically without you having to think about it.
Yes.
But see how easy it sounds now. We immediately hear, right?
But it really is easy.
What do people say? Someone says, yes, Choco, you're all saying it here. But it's not that easy.
That's a negative belief, the idea that it's not easy. And if I say that something isn't easy, I'll experience it as not easy. I'll think of it as not easy, and accordingly, it won't come easily to me. In my personal work with people, they often have this belief, which I've also had myself. If it isn't hard for me, it isn't mine. Back in the day, that was very,
If there are no major challenges, there isn't.
yeah, so what about you? But actually, the information coming from Bashar says exactly that. Follow the path of least resistance. The path of least resistance. And not the hardest path. Push there, bang your head, break your head, but many still do that. It has to be very hard. You have to work very hard to make money. You have to work day and night to make money. Well, aren't there people who work 3 hours and earn money? There are.
There are.
So, what is it?
Whichever you choose.
Ah, that's right. Whatever you believe is true for you. Whatever you say is true for you. Because what happens in your reality, what you say is law, your reality.
That's very well said.
And if I say my life is hard, my life is a burden, my life is an obstacle, karma, I'm paying for my family and for this person and that person, well, that's how I'm going to experience it. And accordingly, everything around me will reflect that because the universe is a big mirror. It doesn't have its own opinion. And if I say I'm not enough, I'm here on this planet to atone and to suffer, well, of course, I'm going to experience my life as suffering. But if I say, actually, this is the greatest, this life is given to me so I can have fun.
In what way?
In every way, you can choose. You can live your life suffering all the time, dragging yourself along the way all the time, crying all the time, or laughing, observing all the time. No one can tell you a thing because we have free will. How should we live this life?
No one can say a word. I really like that.
Subscribe to our channel. But religion, however, says that if we go, the afterlife is our real home. It's here, but that's truly where we belong. Because we are spiritual beings first. You'll be judged there. Who told you that? How do you know?
A lot. I feel pleasure because I'm just enjoying the moment and what you're saying right now, because
When
this takes me back to when we started the first season and the conversation with you. The energy back then was quite different. There was a certain drive, you could feel it. I'm not sure if you felt it when, besides your personal resistance, there's the collective resistance of the egregore of the common field. And when you bring down something like that and say something so sharp, then it starts to burn here. You start to get anxious. Now I feel pleasure, I feel joy that all of this is being voiced. And here, allow me to make a side note. In our, I think, second or third episode, there was a guest, a woman whom nobody knows. She also lives in London. She talked about her encounter with a being and channeling and what comes through her from Siri. And the information offers so much to others. She came out very boldly, openly. She was honest. She was herself. The episode now has over 115,000 views. And for me, that was an indicator that, once again, what you're saying is confirmed. We choose, and our thoughts, our beliefs create and recreate, reformat everything that happens. Because just as it can, we can focus on stupidity and what is given publicity, just as such things can be put on a pedestal. They can multiply, reproduce, and increase in number.
But Tony, do you know how many people go through that? And if we don't talk about them, they feel alone, they feel abnormal, they feel crazy. But someone is talking to me, but who is talking to me? But what's going on? I'm receiving information, but where is this information coming from? Very few people really have the courage, not to use a more slang word, to stand up, to publicly admit I channel, though I don't know what it is, even before what I did. Now I don't need to close my eyes. I am in a constant flow. I am in a constant channeling. I go on stage unsure of what I'll say. I close my eyes and it starts, it begins. If I shift my mind,
It's over.
everything starts.
That means a beginning.
Yes, this is the beginning, this is the start. But a lot of people do that. And because people are still afraid of what others will say, afraid they might come and lock me up, put me in prison, they'll call me crazy. They'll say let them say it.
Allow them, let them say it.
Yes, I may seem crazy to them. They tell me, take your pills, and I do. But that's not our audience, Tony. Our audience is those who want to take something from this, those who will recognize themselves in this conversation, those for whom something will click. And actually, they'll say, well, I had some experiences like that too. When you realize that our mind doesn't create anything, the brain is just an antenna which receives information and the mind experiences it. The higher self generates all ideas. Who already knows what the higher self is? They do. Because yesterday, the other day, when I was on a live broadcast, I asked them, how many of you have met yourselves? Do you know who you are? Half the room raised their hands, which I take as a good sign. How many of you know who you are right now? They raise their hands. Those who don't know, the others raise their hands, which means that they're starting to balance out more or less.
They're starting to, yes.
The scales are evening out, and that's really nice because right now there's so much hunger for information, but there's no application. There's not enough practice. With so much information and so many courses, people get lost.
Anyone who, no matter if they participate in such events or are just part of the audience, anyone, whoever I've met, now this is my reality, right? That's one subtext, but it contains exactly this message. There's not enough information or application, which is why we started this season. Everyone we invite, this is the season of experiences. We're talking here about, even if we don't fully understand what happened, which is often the case in life, even with lots of information, something new always appears and makes you wonder, why is this happening? I might have an idea since I've wished for things, but why is it happening? Do you try to explain these primal things to yourself, or do you just let them exist within you?
Which primal things?
For example, you wish for something or follow a certain direction, you have a certain desire, inspiration. However,
The formula in the action?
something happens.
No, we shouldn't. Not now.
It hits you.
You stopped and parked. Then someone clearly about to cut you off passes by, hits your mirror and breaks it.
Now, I'll give you an example from A month ago, while working at home, my doorbell rang. I answered, and a woman asked, "Is this your car?" And I say, "Yes, we hit it." It was parked in front of the house, and they passed by with some huge fish and chips van. Their daughter was sitting at the wheel. I don't know what the kid did, and she scraped my car. She made a nice scratch on the whole car. And she is obviously worried because she expects me to make a scene. She probably expects me to do something. But I went out and asked her. The first thing I felt was sympathy. I asked if the child was okay, and she stared at me in shock. And she says yes. And I say, "Well, it's just a car. It's just a car. It's just paint." She said she was surprised by her own reaction. That was the main thing. I didn't even get angry. I didn't want to shout. I thought, what does this mean now? It's a test for myself.
Yes.
Can I really apply this and be in my heart, no matter what's happening around me? We had some negotiations, conversations about this, about insurances, and so on. But in the end, she just pulled out. The woman offered money, asked, and I agreed to fix my car. But the question is, are we human as much as she took my mirror? That could prevent something from hitting me in the head later on. I'm not sure what's stopping me. But the fact that it's happening means it's not a coincidence. And if I judge it and say, you shouldn't exist, what am I actually doing? I'm judging the creation, I'm judging the present moment, and that way I can't get 100% out of it.
I'd like us to talk a little about something that I had noticed. Many intelligent questions were asked during and after our previous conversation.
When we talk about Bashar, can we talk about the fact that you refer to him as a source of information, but this information doesn't come only from him?
Because a lot of people understand that this is...
The reference isn't exact, but it's like Jesus with the Bible.
That's how I see it is in people's minds. From the perspective of honoring and worshipping all the knowledge that has been given to us, but also being open to our essence, to what is inside each of us.
Yes, he says this is something we have established as a civilization, that this is how the universe works, because there are many of them. They say you are multidimensional beings, meaning they are quite ahead of us, advanced in time and in their development. And they also have their own mentors. They have their own mentors. The whole universe is built in some kind of hierarchical way. But this is not information they invented. They are simply passing it on. Since he is a specialist in first contact, that is his job. To pass on this information with the purpose to changes, yes, but because on another level we have agreed to receive this information, that's why he is providing it to us.
Can you clarify this? How, in what way, beforehand, if everything is now, have we agreed to this, and that's why it's happening to us now, and we are surprised by what is happening now?
Yes, I'm surprised because it's a different now from a different perspective. Because what even quantum physicists are starting to realize is that there is only one moment and only one place. A single moment, which is here, and a single place, which is now, or maybe it was the other way around.
That's right.
Yes, now, and the place is here, that's right. But it's from a different perspective. And what Bashar explains so that we can understand this is like television channels. Right now, around us, there are constantly some electromagnetic waves that carry information. And if we had a television here and turned it on, we would catch some television channels. Switching to one channel doesn't make the others disappear. They all exist at the same time. The way we access the others is through the remote control. In other words, the way I can move from reality to reality. Changing perspectives is my vibration, my frequency of oscillation.
How do we know that we've changed reality?
This is an automatic process. Bashar says you are moving. Switching between realities billions of times per second. Billions? A phantasmagoria, this is literal. And he gives an example with the film strip, which contains all the frames of the movie. And if there isn't a projector to shine through it and create the illusion of movement like in the old days, right? We used to draw those kinds of things in our notebooks. The small pages creating a movement illusion. Now I'm working on 20 different realities. But it happens so automatically that we don't even realize it's happening that way. But that's technically how it happens. Actually, everything already exists. Everything we can think of exists. We literally don't create anything. We just make it visible to ourselves.
We reveal.
Everything exists, but if it's not on my vibration, I can't see it because I don't need it. Why do I need to see everything I don't need? I will have access to it the moment I need it. Not a second sooner or later. If I don't need it, it won't matter to me or show up in my life. So, a lot of people want something, but the wanting comes from the ego. However, if we are humble and trust our lives, you know that what you need will always come to you in the way you need, with the people you need, at the moment you need it, then all the insisting, all the control just disappears. And that's part of the formula. And that's the path of least resistance, because we don't need to make our life flow. It flows on its own.
It flows on its own.
It's just our job whether you'll enjoy it or you'll complain about it. The choice, the decision, who I want to be here and now. Who do I want to be in this situation? Do I want to be loving and giving, or do I want to? There's no way I'll tell you now, since you're asking so much.
Well, yes.
How are you? In what ways can we create these daily reminders so we don't miss the train so much on that? We choose. Not that we're in control, we decide, we lead.
Well, I started by putting sticky notes everywhere. At first, I live in a simulation. Everything around me is virtual reality. That's how I kept sticking them everywhere, everywhere.
Great idea. We could put them everywhere here too.
Subscribe.
Every time something starts to come to me as an idea, so I don't forget, since the mind easily returns to old habits, letting me create something new. Automatic, but at first I have to make an effort, like learning to drive, a time when we notice everything.
Yes, you tremble.
Then it's click, click, everything turns automatic. That's the mind that must be automated. But to automate things that I want, to work for me, and not to work against me. That's why mind models are a very important thing to be recognized and mastered, so that the life you live is truly the one you prefer, and not the one your mind dictates without you realizing it. Because have you ever had a moment when you're driving your car and suddenly you stop at some intersection and ask yourself, how did I get here? I had this experience last year.
What?
Exactly. I'm driving, stop at a light, and realize I have no memory of the last 10 minutes. I don't know where I'm going. I was on autopilot. That was the moment when I realized that the mind works on automatic mode. Autopilot. You do things. If you travel the same route every day, you don't even need to think about it. That's why I started on purpose to ask myself to take a detour, to go a different road, to create moments for myself.
To break the routine.
Yes, for it to be unfamiliar to me, for it to be new, at the same time to teach my mind not to be afraid of the unknown. And also to pay attention, to be present in the here and now. Because how many times do you actually notice how many buildings are around you, how many floors this building has, how many traffic lights you have on your way?
We're not sure what we have here,
We don't know the colors around us.
let alone the buildings outside.
This is the automatism we're discussing. The body simply follows the mind. And if your mind is on autopilot, you do certain things and then you wonder, why am I constantly in a panic? Why am I always gaining weight? Why am I always depressed? Because something is going on here, but you don't know what it is. It commands, commands, commands. That's why these beliefs need to be discovered and used to our advantage. They create the circumstances, not the other way around.
That's very well said. I fully support it, and it's true because
It's very subtle.
You
You realize that you're moving somewhere along your life path, growing up, looking at old photos, meeting people from your past who were supposed to stay there, but now they're different too. When you see them, a vibrational channel forms between you, and you instantly regain or acquire certain frequencies, though it's unclear which. And I start to ask myself the question, what is the meaning?
The meaning is to live this life in the coolest way possible. We will never be Stoyan or Adelina again.
I'm provoking you on purpose because Bashar has a cult line, life in its essence is meaningless.
Exactly, there's no built-in meaning.
How?
How do we realize this? How do we allow it in our minds?
Well, it's like this. Let's say the same situation, 10 people will interpret it in 10 different ways. Because meaning comes from the observer.
And who is the observer?
The observer is the experiencer in reality. Consciousness is the observer. Not the body, the consciousness. Consciousness observes the body. And that's why I say that the mind is like a naughty child, which, if not controlled, is like coming here to open, to slam, to bang, and you and I pretend that it's not doing anything and there's no control, to tell it, hey, calm down. When you observe your mind's patterns, that's already the parent consciousness watching the body and mind, the inner dialogue. And that takes work to be able to have this distance.
I'm creating a reference for easier addition and understanding.
Here's a brief story about a 14th century monk. And one of his new students asks him, you keep repeating, right, in that language. You keep saying that your God is very easy. You see him and you're with him and he's constantly with you. What's the easiest way for you to show and explain this is true? He replies that it's very simple. You just have to ask yourself, who is looking through your eyes right now? And
By asking ourselves these questions, actually here it is, here's one of the conclusions. To ask ourselves not the right questions, but the necessary ones.
Questions are very important.
the ones that reveal answer A, B, C, answer D, the ongoing answer, and so on.
This inner dialogue we're talking about is really important because if I keep talking to myself, why me, poor me, I won't get an adequate answer. But if you ask the really important question, what is this teaching me? Who is looking through my eyes? When you realize that,
Who do I want to be now?
exactly, who do I choose to be? I can choose who I want to be. If I don't like how a moment went, I can change in the next one. We always have the opportunity to change. Becoming better, more loving and gentler costs me nothing. Rather than yelling or cursing in the streets, why not let someone pass, buy them a coffee or offer them food? What will happen to you? What will happen to you if you're kind? Will you choke? Will you become poor? It's free to be kind. And what do we get if we keep being divided, going against each other? We are parts of a whole, exactly what you're talking about. The one has shattered into billions of pieces, like a diamond thrown and broken. And without us, without you, and without me, it can't experience itself. That's how much we are needed and important to creation, because through our eyes, from our unique perspective and free will, because no one can know what you will decide in this very second. The quantum field proves, quantum physics proves that there are already billions of versions. There are multiple universes, each with different versions of this scenario. In another parallel reality, we might be talking about something else. We might not see each other at all. We might be somewhere else.
In Greece?
Yes, like in Greece, we may never have met or known each other. Or it could be in a different combination.
That's right.
And everything is experienced in this single moment. What determines where consciousness will be? Tune in, where will it observe from?
In that case, we are like mirrors of the whole. There's another question that somehow it kind of messes with your mind.
Oh, I really love it.
And here it is. If each one of us is a mirror of everyone else,
Yes.
basically that's us. That's me and I'm you and you're me.
Yes.
How can I be you and you be me at the same time? I'm not responsible for you. That's your business. But otherwise, I'm your mirror.
Yes.
Paradox.
It's cool. As Bashar says, the truth is in the paradox. And this can be easily understood from the way he explains that the soul creates reality. And it's like imagining a sphere, which is our soul, a sphere in which the whole experience takes place. From this sphere
Experiencing physical reality?
of any reality.
any
Your soul is a sphere of light floating timelessly without a place in the spiritual world. Inside this soul, there are billions. There are movements, there are ripples, aspects of what it is. It has accumulated all its experiences and reincarnations. All the knowledge, all the information, all these ripples inside, all the points, they are parts of it. When my soul decided to come and become Adelina, it drew specific aspects from the surface of the soul, from the sphere, specific ripples of information that I will need in this reincarnation of mine. What will I look like? How tall will I be? Where will I be born? And what beliefs, mission, and job will I have? Who will be my friend or boyfriend? What child will I have? Everything is predetermined there, and it condenses in the center of the soul in the form of a crystal. This crystal is my incarnation as Adelina. This occurs in the soul within the sphere. We don't leave it. This crystal is so low vibrational that it already creates my physical body. So the body is in the soul, not the other way around as we've been taught, because the soul is bigger than the body. The soul can exist without the body, but the body cannot exist without the soul. And when you realize that you are your own bubble of light, it's like you're in a movie theater that's projecting your reality in 360 degrees. Then for me to have an experience of Adelina, I need to have someone who shows me that I am not him and he is not me. In other words, to have someone to compare myself to. And that's where the mirrors come in to help, because we're all connected and part of a whole. We have spiritual families above and below. That was one principle.
That's right.
Here, families exist. So spiritual families above also incarnate together and make agreements. In this life, I'll torment you. In another, I'll heal you. Now, I'll be your child or your mother, right? We take on these roles to play out this scene, this play called my life. But since there are billions of versions of our relationships, and my reality happens in my own bubble and yours in your own bubble, so that we can serve each other in the most adequate way, we agree that I will work with my version of you. And you will work with your version of me. Which means that since we are multidimensional beings, now it's going to get a bit complicated for a physical explanation. Since we are multidimensional beings and we are in this room of mirrors, every time, every mirror that shows a different face of mine will create the illusion for me that it's not me. But all of this is me because I have agreed on a higher level with you and with her for this thing to happen in my reality. You said you'd reflect this to me, but you don't know what you're reflecting in my reality. Because you're part of my reality, my little bubble.
And here is the honesty.
This is honesty. And when I am honest with myself and I say, well, this is about me, who I am in this situation, not about him.
How do I react?
How should I react, respond, and who do I want to be? Actually, my attitude toward the mirror, toward myself, shows who I am, not who you are. Who am I, since the only thing that...
Please repeat. My attitude toward...
My attitude toward you and everything that's happening shows who I am. How you treat me reveals your character. When someone speaks badly about another person, it doesn't mean that the person they're talking about isn't okay. It shows that the one who is speaking is in a low vibration. It shows who he is at the moment. If you talk badly about me and tell me, hey, Adelina, you blah, 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 I'll say, well, okay. That's your perspective, your version of me. I can reflect that back to you because I contain everything within myself. Admitting I have both black and white, bad and good, I realize those are just concepts. The universe consists of positive, negative, and neutral points or energy. Negative energy tears apart, separates, and divides.
It divides.
Positive energy unites, integrates, and uplifts. Which means that in order for me to experience what's above, I need to know what is below. The universe relies on contrast. It's how we learn. I couldn't read this book without black letters against a white page. How would that work? How would I know that I'm a better version or that I'm taller than you or that you're taller than me if I don't stand next to you? How would I know that? I can't. That's why mirrors are valuable. However, when we know that we're sitting across from ourselves, that's when conscious creation of reality comes in. To stand across from
Across from yourself?
Someone who is wet themselves, who is a beggar, because I had that kind of test from myself exactly during the retreat I was telling you about. I go to buy coffee, and an old trembling, toothless man walks toward me. And I think he's coming to ask me for money, so I get $10 ready to give him. He says, "Can you give me a ride?" Just to the next village. But he was wet, dirty, and he smelled. Because he said the bus wouldn't come until tomorrow. It only comes once a day.
And you?
And I said, "Get in." I bought him Iran, gave him water, took him there when I saw his eyes. When I left him where he asked, I tell myself, "You're my other self, another me. Why wouldn't I cut myself for you? I'll feed you, but what happens to me if I take you?" But I'm not saying this to brag, but good examples are important to me.
To be given to them.
To be given a voice. Because in my club, Conscious Creation, I make them talk about the good deeds they do. It's important to inspire each other because we're constantly surrounded by negative news, which is so overwhelming that everything else seems to get drowned out. Do good and throw it away. I don't agree with that. I don't agree. You should do good and talk about it so you can inspire someone else. We inspire others only through our example. This isn't about arrogance. It's not about trying to. That's when you can really feel the energy when you do it that way. But we don't know. There are also parables exactly about angels who come. You never know who gets into your car. You don't know who you pass by. You really don't know. But Bashar also says the higher your energy and vibration become, the more subtly you can distinguish things. I gave an angel a ride.
Yes.
An earthly angel. In a recent Bashar session, someone described going to a store at night and asked about the experience. A beggar woman outside told him something. He asked, "Do you want me to buy you food?" She agreed. He asked what she wanted, and she gave a specific answer. A specific sandwich or some brand or something like that. And he said, "Okay," and went inside. There's only one thing. The thing she asked for is just one. He takes it, comes out, and she's gone. She's gone. He asked Bashar, "What's this? Why?" Bashar replies, "That's an earthly angel." More and more of them will come, right, to check the vibration of the earth first.
Your kindness?
Are you vibrating high enough? Do you know who you're communicating with? It's very powerful, Tony.
It's very powerful, Eddie, what you're saying.
A lot. I just really don't know who I'm interacting with.
This is the real perpetual motion machine, and it comes.
Yes.
I've really been trying for a few years now since I saw this thing to tell people about it in different ways. It's not nagging, not provocative, not.
We'll provoke them.
Yes, but I mean in every possible way that it's really coming and it's already here. And those who, with infinite parallel realities, choose to keep the valve closed will really encounter a lot of resistance because more and more people are becoming aware. They are making their own reality. And even if over time this risks becoming a cliche, it will happen.
Let it be so.
Let it be rooted anew, reprogrammed in us, and let us wake up with it each morning. Why wake up worrying about the time or the day? Does it really matter?
None.
I wish we could wake up and there would come a time when, as phones or devices wake up, they just blink constantly. You said it yourself, 15, 15, 16, 16, 18, 40. Why? Because I choose.
Each morning, you ask yourself who you want to be and what kind of day you want to have. How can I make the world better today? How can I leave the world better? If I leave today, have I left the world better than I found it? I think I have. If I die now, I have no regrets. No, I won't. Because what I see, what remains, surely, if someone chooses to apply it, it will make them better.
That's right.
It doesn't take strength to destroy. Anyone can destroy. Strength is shown when you create. But in order to create, we need to understand that we are parts of a whole. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, Bashar. The splitting of realities that's already happening. And the more people understand this concept, they start to see the symptoms of this separation. He says, you are already on different trains, you have already boarded them. We still have the opportunity to say, well, hello. Do you want to come on my train? We still have the opportunity to jump from train to train.
How much time do we have?
About 20 years. Subscribe. And this will intensify more and more, and at some point we won't be able to see where the other train is at all.
It's for us.
It's really for us.
For us, these people will simply disappear.
They'll disappear, we'll disappear for them, and they'll disappear for us. And accordingly, the first contact will happen on a version of Earth where people are at a higher vibration. Those who don't believe in this, those who are afraid of it, those who are clinging to the material, they won't witness first contact, they'll enter another reality. We're talking about two main ones, but there are actually many. It's just for convenience. But the first contact, which is expected within the next 5 years, could happen in 1 year or in 4. It's already inevitable. We're already there.
Subscribe, that's right. Separate topic.
Do you understand what it's about when we go in? How will the world change?
I'm trying to imagine it. I've seen footage, pictures, they've shown them to me.
Yes, me too.
But my physical...
It's hard for me, I admit, because this...
We'll all be in great ecstasy. That's what I know.
Not everyone. Many will be scared.
Everyone who's waiting, that's what I mean. Yeah, I didn't express myself.
I'm sure we'll be mediators.
And then maybe the bigger role of those of us who will be revealed.
I won't compare. Those of us who
have taken a bit more of a early start. The third book, we didn't mention it in the second one. People Like Mirrors is available and people can...
Online and in bookstores.
I believe they will get it to read, but now, very soon. We already have your third book, Children of the Future. Next time we meet, I hope you have 3 more since you didn't last time. Now there are 3, next time it will be 9 straight away.
All right.
The Children of the Future. What does that title mean?
These children who have been born in the last decade or are being born now, Bashar says they're not just a new generation, but a new kind of being. Because on a certain level, there are genetic modifications taking place, and these children are different. The parents I meet with confirm this, that they tolerate nothing.
What are they like, and how can we recognize their traits?
They really don't tolerate authority. Extremely different. They might want to be alone. There are no specific characteristics by which you can, but they are different from what we used to be. They don't fit at all into educational systems or home environments. They provoke.
Parents from a very young age.
They provoke them a lot. Whether they won't speak, whether they'll just be on the autism spectrum, whether they'll have attention deficit, or whether they'll be hyperactive. In some way, these children are different. And you can feel it. They are not like this by accident. They begin, something's wrong with my child. My child doesn't want to play. My child can't speak. My child talks too much. My child doesn't tolerate authority. My child shuts down and doesn't care, does whatever they want, and says whatever they want. For example, I have cases with children who say to their parents, "Punish me, but I escape into my mind and a new reality beyond your control."
There it is. This thing is, she told you.
These children will live in a world where aliens will walk freely on Earth. And they know it.
No, that's the best part.
Like those children who were born after we landed on the moon. They live, they come.
With that knowledge.
Before, people wondered how anyone could walk on the moon. Now it's the same feeling. Rather, the children, the new children as I've been calling them for quite some time, they carry within themselves. They know they'll work in virtual reality, since that's how the world is now. That's why they're so hooked on phones and technology. They're born knowing how to scroll. How is that possible? They handle technology so well, but that's because they carry the energy within themselves, that they will operate this, they will live in a virtual reality where everything will be on that level. Artificial intelligence that is coming in more and more. But artificial intelligence is also inevitable for our future. Alien technologies, when appearing on Earth, Institutions will soon announce that they've secretly worked with aliens on many projects and continue collaborating on technologies. But soon it will become obvious they will be officially presented at conferences and so on.
Absolutely. This is very interesting because I had a very long period which was apparently part of my service to others, and that's over 140, maybe even more, episodes of hidden reality, which at the time was something wow.
And even its very name.
Now, we don't make this series anymore. We're moving towards open reality, looking at it with this analogy. And that's exactly where I tried in all those episodes. I even had a few about Bashar back then to show many of those signs, hints, symbols that have been there, whether they were buried under the sands in Egypt, whether they were announced as the Philadelphia Project, the Montauk Project, the project by different scientists who...
This thing is Roswell, the crashed saucer in 1947, Eisenhower, the president, a deal with the Greys.
I've always tried to show all these things to people, to let them see them, and whoever searches and does their own searching, they will find it. Now, there won't be a need for this anymore, because open contact, the open reality that everyone creates and wishes for themselves, will lead to this thing being. And I'm just adding to what you're saying with excitement. He will add to it, he will discover it, and from then on it will be very interesting. When this is already discovered and available, then what do we choose?
What do you think about that?
Oh, everyone will have a choice. We make it every day. We decide to be afraid.
How do you see it then, when this thing is discovered?
What Bashar says is that 2027 is the year when everything will change. It's knocking on the door. Naturally, we will find ourselves in a reality that matches our true vibration. Those who don't vibrate at our frequency will simply fall away. But those of us who choose to be there, I know that we will truly live heaven on earth. It's about telepathy, about all these quantum healing, energy healing, things beyond our imagination. Free energy, energy at no cost. Flying cars. You'll be able to get on an unidentified flying object on about something that will soon be routine, so you can say an unidentified flying object.
They're from the Reds. The new ones released them.
These are from
Pleiadians.
the Pleiadians or from Bashar Sassani. It will just become an everyday thing. They are now. This place is like a hub, you know. Bashar says that too. They are constantly flying, but the fact that you don't see them is another matter. But if people realize and become aware that more and more people are posting such things on the internet, views about plates, I go on TikTok. Every time I go in, someone has posted one. Lights.
Yeah, but that's because you follow that.
Yeah, but I'm interested.
But of course, here you are.
You've chosen and programmed, and you notice these things more often.
Exactly. That's how my beliefs create my reality. I believe in this. I believe that they are well-intentioned. I believe that their open arrival, they are among us, but their open manifestation and declaration and presentation will lead to even more positive changes, while most people are afraid. They will come to enslave us, eat us, make us slaves, things like that, which are from the movies.
Yes, that's the only thing that's been shown.
Yes, that's the only thing that's been shown.
Here, I'll show you too. There's an app. Anyone can download it. It's called ENIGMA. Riddle. Here it is. ENIGMA. We're advertising for them. If they see it, maybe they could help, but that's not the point here. ENIGMA. There's a feed like in TikTok and in every social network, but it's just a wall with people who have filmed. There's a map, which is like on Google Maps.
Yes.
Now, it recognizes I'm in Bulgaria. These numbers you see are the number of cases that have been recorded and described. Some haven't captured it on video, but if you've seen it, you can upload a post with a drawing and describe what you saw.
Great.
You could lose this app here. In the Gorna Oryahovica area alone, there will be over 200 documented auction cases. Look, you can do it right here.
Over 200.
Over 200 just in this area. Here it is. 1037 that's in Copenhagen.
Come on.
Here, for example, I choose the states, Berg.
Ah, great. Here.
3 objects that are blinking, and the person wrote at what time.
At what time? Where is it located?
It could be a whole case. I'm scrolling down. It's like I'm watching TikTok.
I come across the states.
What is this? It must be my grandma, who's traveling on the plane in seat 27E, right?
Or it's the witch with the broom, since that's what she looks like.
Yes, there are people in Bulgaria who upload all over the world. So for me, that was like a big addition. And for the people who are looking, there is, as Adi said, a lot of information. The thing is, on one hand, that's very useful. And right now, that's how we're motivating people.
We're motivating them, inspiring them.
And we're aligning them with this reality.
That's right. But on the other hand, just listening and reading won't be enough.
Because if you're not ready to go out in some way, what is your way?
You don't have to come here, right? Or to you, or go out on the street with some banners. No. Find your inspiration and the way you express yourself. But go out and express yourself and bring out that strength, which, as you said, it creates. And since you have these thoughts, since you see such things, then whoever hears this, right, it means it's happening to you too, and it's waiting for its way to come out.
But as you'll see later in the comments, I'm sure there are all kinds of opinions, and that's okay. Because a lot of people believe in different things. And under my video, where I was exactly commenting on this Bashar session about 2027, which will...
Yeah, the one with me in the t-shirt.
With the t-shirt, yes.
I should have told you to come with it.
Well, I thought about it, but I don't know why I didn't take it.
I knew it.
Yes, I have one here, but...
What comments do you have?
Exactly about the fact that these are devilish things, misleading things. Every year people say all sorts of things. People live in many realities. This is one of the possible ones, yes. They're very... If you believe in that thing, well, of course, that's the kind of life you'll have. But if you think that if an advanced civilization wants to enslave and destroy, what would it wait for?
Some date, a prophecy, yeah.
So many years for us to prepare to be high vibrational, because what does Bashar say? Why haven't they come earlier? Because when such a high vibration meets such a low one like ours, our instinct for self-preservation interprets this high, unfamiliar vibration as a predator.
As an attack.
It's seen as an attack, triggering uncontrollable self-preservation instincts. And we'll start running like chickens. And they've done such experiments with people. Those who believe Bashar and say to themselves, he said it, okay, on this date, on this day, we'll launch the ship. They wait, inspired, then descend. Bashar's ship is approaching. Once it nears, it lands by a woman and everyone flees. They can't explain why they're running. They don't want to scare us because we are their galactic family. We are part of their galaxy. And when someone is highly intellectually developed, they see. The meaning and benefit of everything is that it is part of a huge system, and you can't want to remove just one thing. If you remove one part, the system collapses. So there is no highly evolved consciousness that would want to remove another. That's just a side effect of a low-developed consciousness, which includes us, the people on Earth, because we have chosen this
limitation,
so that we can grow through transformation. And now, since everything is already coming to a head and the energy is very fertile for transformation, this meeting will finally take place.
That's right. And I openly thank you for stating it in our space, which is a shared space.
I want to ask you, before our endless conversation comes to an end.
You've been traveling a lot around Bulgaria. You take part in different events with various speakers. How do you feel about the idea that not everyone puts in the excitement you shared today to tell about their views and ideas about the world? Do you notice it?
I notice it. Yes. Energy doesn't lie, Tony. And people who have attended events with different speakers can feel the difference in the room. It's most noticeable during live broadcasts. They choose what they prefer, which is necessary. Everything is necessary. Everything is necessary because that way the whole chooses. And she asks herself, where do I want to be? This is another filter, so to speak, because in this sea of information, we're already given the chance to choose with whom word resonates with us. Here, it's not just about blindly following someone like a guru, but rather saying, I'll take a little from here, a little from there, a little from over there, and I'll make my own thing, something that makes me feel good, something that makes me a better version of myself. I can't judge others' intentions. I just know why I'm going. I know why I'm doing it. Why they do it is their reality, their own. They will get their feedback there, their own lessons. But the whole, anyway, needs the contrast. We need that. And so we are already loading onto the trains again, more and more and more. Who will go where? He decides. We all have this choice. The main thing I want people who are listening to this to understand is that they have the right to choose. No one has put us there. We are not anyone's victim. It's a very convenient position to be someone's victim. But it benefits me. And what's the benefit? What could I gain from having cancer? Please try to understand.
But really dive into it.
Really dive into the teacher, without whom you won't learn the lesson. What do you understand about yourself? What do you learn from this experience?
What would you say to those listening and questioning themselves?
Well,
It's good to set some limits here so we can experience what Adi is talking about. But I'm fine like this. I mean, I'm okay.
I feel okay.
Right?
I have nothing to improve, nothing to change, or to look at my mirrors and learn from them. I'm okay like this.
That's his right. If he doesn't learn now, he'll learn elsewhere. No one will judge him. Do you understand? That's the power of a meaningless life. That you are the one who gives it meaning. And here, once upon a time, I used to believe that I had to pull to work for the whole, for this one, for that one, because you see, they're asleep. That's very critical, very divisive. No, let everyone sleep however they want. You're in your own reality and version of Earth. If you don't like what you're doing, then move yourself vibrationally to another place. What the person next to you is doing is not your business. You don't know his path, soul's choice, or lessons. It's not our job to criticize and judge what someone else is doing. That's outdated. Focus on yourself, mind your business, and consider where you want to be. It's fine if you like your life as it is.
But don't complain.
Don't complain or criticize. Focus on your life the way you've made it since you created it. You made it that way. If you feel inspired, live that way. But if you're complaining or dissatisfied, you're a victim. Victims have no voice. Decide to stay a victim or take action.
Or a creator?
And say, let me do it the way I prefer.
Was there something you had created as a belief when you first started openly talking about Bashar's teachings? Something you deeply believed, but now it's no longer the case? Something you said publicly?
Oh, for sure. I don't know. I can't think of anything. But a lot of my beliefs have changed.
What?
Well, because we're constantly changing our versions. Someone says I'm inconsistent, saying one thing now and another later. It's normal, since you're always changing. As a Zen proverb says, you can't step into the same river twice. That's true. The question is not...
Because it's a different river and you've changed.
Exactly. Thank you for adding that. But when I know that if I observe myself and compete with myself and see that each subsequent change is more empowering me and more serving the whole. So all the previous ones were necessary steps for me to get to today.
And to do it in an even more natural way, in an even more...
Yes, back then, I needed to believe in it because that was my belief system at the time. For example, I used to practice Reiki because I believed that Reiki was the tool I needed to achieve something. But later, when I changed my lifestyle, I realized that Reiki is just a permission, like any other. a ritual, object, technique, or anything else, just as we are allowed to each other. But the main permission is myself. When you reclaim your power and say, I make the change, you can believe you need this glass to drink your water. Yes, but I can drink water without it too. Because I'm the one who drinks the water. I can drink from my hands, I can drink from a bottle, right? I don't just need the glass. But at a certain point in our lives, because of our belief system, we believe that we need a certain permission, ritual, or technique to become more ourselves, to allow ourselves to change.
To allow ourselves to change.
Yes, to allow ourselves to change. And change is the most natural thing. Everything changes. Fifth law of creation. Everything changes except the first four laws. So change is the most natural thing. And if your mind says, well, you're very inconsistent or you're contradicting yourself, okay, let's explore that.
Let's allow ourselves to explore and become explorers.
Yes, let's become explorers of reality.
This is the idea that I rediscover with every person who sits across from me, and I'm truly very grateful for what you're sharing with us today.
Is there...
Even though we are aware that everything is now.
Do you have, I've always wanted to ask you, a specific person from history or now who really, to have a very strong attraction to them, to feel their energy very strongly connected to you. It doesn't matter whether you've studied them or not.
Which name comes to your mind?
Name. I don't have a name. I have images of leaders, of commanders, of people burned at the stake, of people killed, of pioneers, of those who were different, to the black sheep, to those who said things that weren't comfortable. And after that, they were recognized as geniuses who seemed crazy for their time. That has always attracted me a lot. To be different, to provoke, to always provoking. Everyone says I'm a provocateur. Yes. Well, it's time. Time to shake things up. Whoever wants to listen, let them listen. I have a voice and I will use it for good because I believe in people. I love them. I love people. I know that they will remember. We are together as one. We are parts of this being called God, Universe, Creator. Creation is the same thing. And the more we remind ourselves of it, and the more often we say it, the more inspired we become to create consciously with love, to be love. Everyone says, well, we don't want to live in such a world. Well, okay, what are you doing about it? You just talk. Take action. Right, what was it? Be the change you want to see. You can't expect the world to be clean if you're constantly polluting it with trash. You judge the trash but don't pick it up, even though it's part of your reality, whether it's yours or not. Even if you weren't the one who left it there. You pick it up. Leave it cleaner than you found it. What's going to happen to you? No action. No choice. There's no such thing as something happening in a vacuum. Someone can't just throw their trash at the seaside and expect that when they go back to Sofia, it won't affect them. We share the same air, food, and water.
Adi, at the end of our conversations this season, I always finish with a few questions and challenge my guest to try to answer each of them in just one sentence. Do you think you can handle it?
I don't know. We'll find out now.
Tell me when you're ready.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
What is love?
It is what it is. Love is the essence of life.
Where do we come from, Adi?
From the stars.
And where are we going?
To the stars.
And who are we really?
Gods in human bodies.
And why do we make our lives difficult?
To learn more about ourselves. To get to know ourselves.
To get to know ourselves? Abo, and thank you sincerely for... Thanks for the reminder and your participation. For this of yours? Spark that will remain lit here. Be sure. We will ensure it stays. Shines when others step back, allowing it to grow stronger. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
I thank you for the opportunity to serve and to throw another stick into this fire that you are also kindling for us. Thank you.
Thank you.